Yo, what's good, everybody? In today's video, I want to give you my top 5 features or hidden features on budget phones that nobody talks about, especially on budget phones that we are not used to it, the Chinese market and stuff like that. So my top 5 is as follows. First off, high refresh rate. Usually phones in the 250 to like 400 and $400 budget range from the Chinese market, like the actual like flagship replacement or flagship killers, how they used to call back in the day, have like high refresh rate. Especially they have as base, I think it's like 90 hertz, but they range from like 90 to like 144 hertz. So that's usually like one of the bigger selling features for those phones, which is again high refresh rate. Number 2, this is also a big one, especially for people that tend not to like charge their phones every day or every other day or whatever. And it's a big battery, like big milliamp average for the battery, especially in like the 5,000, 55,000 range and above. Usually I think the new Xiaomi, I think it's like 7,300 milliamp average. So that's another big feature on the budget phones. Usually you can get them from like, I think from 5,000 all the way to like 6,000 in the budget range, from like I said, 250 to like $400. But yeah, that's another feature, which is big batteries. And a bonus tip on that one as well, which is fast charging. Usually the Chinese branded phones have like high fast charging for their phones, usually between, because we're used to on the iPhones and even on some Androids, like especially Samsungs and stuff, it's like at most 45 watts of charging, but the Chinese brands, they usually have like 65, 80, even 100 watts. I think some of the newer ones have like 120 watts fast charging. So that's a bonus for you guys as well. Another feature is that now there are some Chinese companies, especially even American companies, that are actually like providing software updates for like a long time rather than how it used to be before. I remember that sometimes at like the maybe 2019, 2020, used to buy maybe even a flagship Android phone, and it would be like with like an operating system from like maybe 2 years ago or stuff like that, and it'll only give you like 1 year of extra OS, like a major OS support. So yeah, that's another new thing that they're implementing, which is providing like, I think it's like 6 or 7 years of software updates depending on the brand. But yeah, that's another new thing that they are implementing. So that's number 3, which is again implementing 6 to 7 years of big software updates. Well, guarantee in this case, I guess. Another thing is some Chinese brands, they usually try to have like what we call in the American market gimmicks, which is having features that no other manufacturer like provides, whether it's, I don't know, some hidden developer tools that you can enable, or some features that you might not see on any other or every other Android phone, which might be something like, I don't know, like Dex, for example, on Samsung phones, or something like a gaming, when you plug it into a monitor, a gaming mode or stuff like that. So there's always like a gimmick, what we call in this market a gimmick or stuff like that, that they usually tend to promote also on these Chinese phones. Another thing is that most Android companies are not doing anymore, and this is a bonus tip again, and most Chinese brands are still doing is expandable storage via micro, or even in some stances a little bit higher capacity micro SD cards and stuff like that. So that's another thing that most companies are not doing, but most of the Chinese, to get into the market and get it into most people's hands, they're doing like the expandable storage and stuff like that. And last but not least is having really good quality materials and durability, especially now that they're using like IP69 and Gorilla Glass, Victus 2, I think it is, and stuff like that. So having high and good quality materials for the phones, especially on the durability side. You know that most people tend to, not everybody, most people tend to put a case on their phones and stuff like that. Or most people, I think mainly New York, has seen that trend that most people don't use cases on their phones. So it might be a little more rugged than any usual phone that you might be able to get under any other major brand that you might know. So again, high durability and real world build quality for this budget phones. Things that you might see only in flagships and high prices smartphones. This is my top 5 top hidden features for the budget market of phones that are becoming really good that we should keep an eye on. And this is this week's video. If you guys have any other ones that you might recommend to keep an eye on, or that you remember from some other brands or whatever, let me know in the comments down below and leave me a like, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace.